Hello and welcome to this brief introduction to a session I'm giving to the EQUATOR group in Oxford. There are three questions we're going to address in this brief workshop. The first is, what does an editor do? How does an editor work? The second is, how do you write a good submission letter? And the third one is to talk a little bit about peer review and how to give good peer review and how to respond to good peer review. So the first question is, what does an editor do? Well, the first thing to remember is an editor, just like you, wants to change the world. Well, perhaps that's a bit of an exaggeration, but what an editor wants to do is to publish something that's new, original, interesting, and can help a little bit change the health of people. We're really focused on patients, and depending on the journal, that varies, depending on the type of journal, what it is, what type of patient group it is, what type of specialist is aiming at. But essentially, I suppose to cut it down to its basics, we want to change something. In a sense, that's improve knowledge and improve health. How do we do that? Well, if we're going to publish research, we need to publish the whole story. We don't want little bits, we don't want salami research, we want to have the whole story. And nothing is more irritating than just to get a little piece of a nice research question. The other thing to remember is the academic interest isn't just enough for an editor. You may think you've done a lovely piece of work that's really well done, great method, but just the academic content alone is not enough. It really must have something different, something new, something interesting. The other thing is we need to communicate, so it needs to be in a way that's written nicely, that people understand, and it needs to be the type of paper that people read, because communication is two ways. It's both what you write and what people read. And the third thing to remember is, of course, editors are also under pressure relating to commercial aspects, and you can see in some journals how this has influenced the way they present papers and the type of paper that they present. What about a cover letter? The key of a cover letter is to tell us why it's important. Is it new? Is it true? And will it make a difference? Essentially, those are the things you need to write in your cover letter. Is it new means, is it original? Is it true means, is the method sound? And is it important means, is it relevant and will it make a difference to those who read it in this particular journal? And of course that varies according to the journal. What about peer review? There's an awful lot written about peer review, but essentially an editor is asking your colleagues to tell us what they think of your work. It can be very structured, unstructured, but essentially what we want to know is, what about your peers, your colleagues in this discipline? How do they rate the importance of the work that you're doing? And when it comes to responding to peer review, it's really important to respond to every point, item by item, so that you ensure that you respond to every issue that the peer reviewers and editors raise. Because editors are fairly experienced, and they can tell whether you really have grasped the questions and whether you can answer them. Thank you very much for joining me in this brief introduction, and I hope you might think of coming to the course yourself sometime in the future.